We're back on the X52 podcast presented by Jimmy's Famous Seafood. It is Monday night, May 12th. My name is Jake Louque, and I'm joined for third time this season by 2 out of 3 Arditti. How about that? How we doing?
Good. Finally, again, another series win. It's not too many of them, like you said, three so far. So it was nice to get one under their belt, and a West Coast one at that, with some fun, interesting games. I know we talked about it. I don't know how many you saw, but there were better games.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out in front of this one. Friday night, Saturday night, I caught about the first half of each, and let me tell you, it had been a long prior week for your boys, so I sort of clocked out, like I said, around the halfway mark, but I did hang around for some of the fun on Friday night. Kind of like we've said with a lot of these games throughout the year, I kind of caught the tenor of what was going to happen on Saturday night, so that was a little bit more of a willing kind of drift off to sleep. And then I was pretty dialed in on Sunday there, which I thought was a fun one, a complete win. So yeah, overall, I mean, we can't get too excited. I'm not going to talk about, the turnaround, this, that, and the other. Just, you know what? It's May 12th. They just got a series win. Like I said, third of the year. Let's enjoy this one a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think after Friday night, somebody was like tweeting and they were like, "Are we back?" And I was just like, come on. As much as I want to hoot and holler, it's like, come on, we got it. There's still 9 games under.
Yeah, still 9 games under. A lot of work to do, long way to go. There is a lot of baseball left, so I don't begrudge anyone for having some belief left in their system. I've still got, some residing deep within my soul somewhere, but you can't get too excited after any of these. It's to the point now where I feel like every win, it's kind of gnawing in the back of your mind, like, oh man, it's something. It's like the Chappelle show. You got any more of that good baseball in you? And yeah,
getting some of the guys back too is like, I think that's kind of a calming thing. It's like, oh, okay, Eflin's back now. Oh, okay, Kalzer is out with the team playing catch. And like, oh, Westberg is, kind of progressing a little bit. So that's kind of like building my optimism, just kind of step by step going up.
Yeah, that would be kind of my number one takeaway from the weekend. This feels like a pitching staff that, like, if they were fully healthy, like, this team might be in a totally different spot. And like, that's not to let the offense off the hook, who I think they're averaging a little over 3 runs a game. That's not going to get it done, even if you had a lot better of a pitching staff than this. They're, in the 20s in the league as far as just overall offense, I'm pretty sure, just as far as production and runs kind of go. So yeah, I mean, there are problems abound, but man, you see what Sugano continues to do. 7.1 innings pitched on Friday night. Only allows 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. The guy is just a machine right now. He's, they don't have an ace necessarily, but he is their ace, especially in Eflin's absence, who looked like Zach Eflin on Sunday, right? 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, two walks. So, some stuff to clean up there, but 5 strikeouts, man. He looked like pretty much like what you get from Zach Eflin every time. He's going to go out there. He's going to have a quality, kind of calming start and a rotation that severely needs it. And then obviously that is sort of it sort of it reminds you all the more that, every 4 or 5 days, you're going to have to trot out Kyle Gibson and then Charlie Morton getting thrown back into the mix somehow into the starting rotation. And it's just like, it feels like with this team, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, or like they do something good and then they step on a rake and they hurt themselves. So that's where I'm coming in with, like, I'm not going to get too excited, but man, it just feels like if they could have kept Eflin healthy for a little longer, maybe you have a couple more wins under your belt. And maybe if Sugano had gotten off to a bit of a quicker start, this, that, and the other, but it's just like, as constructed, I don't think that we'll belabor this point until the Cows come home this season. I don't think this roster was constructed as a World Series contender, at least not a serious one. Maybe that's what Elias thought. I think you and I thought they certainly would be better than this, and we predicted them each to win upwards of 90 games, so I'm not going to let myself off the hook for any optimism. And like I said, you never know what's going to happen, but overall, I mean, it's just, like I said, a good weekend of baseball, getting some fun in the mix here. We got our Captain Jack Sparrow hat now for the home run celebrations, which was a lot of fun. Gunner going yard yesterday, Sunday, one of the more hilarious home runs that I think I've seen.
I watched that in the dugout of my softball game, and like, just the way it was weird how he hit it. The camera angle in Anaheim is just always off too. Something like looks off, and like, obviously they have the wall in right field where it's like a tall wall, but they have the yellow line, and if it hits over the yellow line, it's a home run. But it's like it's weird. It's just a weird setup they got out there. They have nothing going on for them in Anaheim either. Ron Washington is just, there is not much out there for those Angels fans. But yeah, that was a weird home run.
Yeah, having to live in Southern California with that great weather and the beach and the amazing food, and
405 though. Traffic.
Listen, I spent some time in the OC this past November. Actually, so yeah, that was this past year. I was in LA twice within like a month at one point, and then November I was in Orange County, so kind of closer to Anaheim. Yeah, let me tell you, lives up to the hype. It's a wonder everyone in the world wants to move out there, and property values are like through the roof, and you've got to sleep like 5 people to one house just to like make rent. Insane place. But yeah, the baseball team, not really a shocker that people aren't too worried about the proceedings there. And our guy Ron Washington, who we've always chuckled about with the players only meetings and team meetings and things of that nature, they got off to a good start this year. It's kind of tailed off a little bit, and I think, man, the Orioles caught them at a time when they really needed them, after what had gone on the last couple of weeks and the Detroit series. It felt like they really needed kind of a salve, somebody to go sort of, take their frustrations out on. And, notwithstanding the Saturday night game, which they do lose 5-2, overall, this felt like a much needed, strength draw. These are the teams you should beat 100%. And all too often, this is a team that they've let get by them throughout so far this year. So good to see them handle business.
Yeah. I mean, Trent was spot on. Like these are the series where you look at them and you circle that and you say they need to win the series, if not sweep them. And again, that's how you kind of claw back into this thing. But, again, the Angels are not a very good team. It's funny because they still have a better record than the Orioles. But that is not a good team at all. And again, just like we talked about, like if you can win the Sagano start, win the Eflin start, Kramer's pitched his ass off his last 2 times. I know he didn't get to win this last time, but if you can start getting that pitching staff kind of rolling and comfortable, and then we're seeing signs of the offense come to light. Again, Gunnar is Gunnar. I think he is turning it on. I tweeted out the numbers today. Let me go back and look at them. This is over the last 7 games. Gunnar, 310, 2 home runs, 9 hits, 3 walks. Jackson, 308, 379 OBP, 2 homers, 3 walks. Heston, 217, 1 RBI. Laureano, 250. Laureano scoring without a ball, getting put in play on, was that yesterday, I think? Again, I missed the game because of softball. That was just like a perfect, that's just kind of like who he is, it seems like.
And it's also like, those are the kind of things that, I don't mean to turn this into any kind of excuse making, but it just feels like those are the breaks that the Orioles just have not gotten at all this year.
They weren't happening early.
You make your own luck. Like they've lost games more of their own accord than anything else, but it just felt like things were kind of cosmically working against them at some ways. And this was kind of one of those situations where it was like, oh, hey, like when it happened, I was like, hey, I remember that. I remember good things just kind of happening to this team, and not necessarily like
Gunnar used to score like that. Gunnar would score like that, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is sick. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of cosmic gumbo going around out there. People don't want to talk about it. Mountcastle, 321 over his last 7 games, 5 RBIs, 5 Ks and a walk. Mullins is as ice cold as you can get. 115, a home run, an RBI.
They're kind of like those two guys. Like those two guys are like the scales of justice. Like one goes up and the other goes down. Like they're both.
They've never been hot at the same time.
They're both streaky players, and then like when one gets hot, it's like, oh shit, it's my turn to go back down, and then the other one goes back down. It's like, all right, I got to start picking up the slack.
Yeah. And then again to round it out, O'Hearn 304, a home run, 7 hits, 4 walks, 429 on base percentage. The last 7 games in the Minnesota series, he was on every single play appearance. It seemed like
another guy I really would like to give some flowers to, and I wish we had seen more from this guy, Emmanuel Rivera. I mean, the guy.
Yep.
It just feels like whenever he is playing in the big leagues, like he's just producing. I don't know what it is. Like I think he had 4 or 5 hits total in the series. Let me pull it up here. Yeah. So you got
he's batting 375. He has 9 hits and 3 RBIs over his last 7, and that's so
3
he
hits.
started. Yeah. I believe he started the first game. His first game was the Friday night game versus Kansas City that I was at, and that's when Ramon got put on the IL, like right before I think he got scratched right before the game, and they put him in there. All he did was make like 2 or 3 nice plays in the field. He had an opposite field hit for an RBI too. And I was talking with Brett Hollander about it, like after the game. And I was like, that's a guy who, like, this is a guy who, like, last year, this would have happened last year, 2 years ago, like a guy who fresh off the bench.
He was doing this for them last year at points.
He came in that Colorado series and was great. And again, it's like, you cannot tip your cap enough to a guy like that who comes straight off the bench, ice cold, and they're like, hey, go play third base right now. You're going to have to make all these plays, blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, I mean, he got thrown out twice in the Minnesota series at home, which he arguably, I think he was safe on both of them, and he got called out on both of them. The replay did not help him. But yeah, anytime he's on base, he's making stuff happen. And he's not like a good base runner. He's not fast. He's not like a great athlete, but he just always ends up on third base, and he's always scoring. So that's a guy who, like, winning teams have players like that who can just come out of nowhere kind of, and like, oh, I'm just going to produce for like 2 weeks while the main starter is hurt. You know, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So credit to him for, again, being ready. We've seen it several times. Kobe Mayo, not ready when he gets his shot. Jorge Mateo has not been ready anytime. He doesn't look, what's his name? Emmanuel Rivera gets his number called and right away is like, let's go. I'm ready to hit. I'm going to hit 375 and we're good to go. So yes, credit to him. He's been awesome. I've really enjoyed seeing him. I think Matt Wayrich tweeted something about him, and I just said, build the whole plane out of Emmanuel Rivera. Just build it all out of him. Like, give me 9 of them.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Flash Flaherty back in the day. Just kind of, not necessarily utility or anything like that, but just it feels like a guy you need a yard, I'll get you a yard. You need 2 yards, yes, I'll get you a yard, yep, right? Yep. Like
Well, I talked to somebody else about this, but Ramon is like this too. But maybe we could put Rivera and Ramon together. They are like Justice Hill, where like they really, really come through when you need them. They don't get used a ton, but when they do, like Ramon will hit a big home run. Emmanuel will give you a big, hit to the opposite field or something.
And it's probably partially because you don't use them a ton that they're able to maximize their opportunities, right? It's just kind of that, and like that's sort of the type of journeyman guy you're getting. I don't really know all that much about Rivera. I know he has been a little bit of a journeyman. Yeah, pulling it up, 28 years old, played for the Royals, Diamondbacks, Marlins throughout his career. And yeah, I remember that Colorado series very well. And it's like, the team was, I think, in dire straits at that point, and I didn't even realize he had been called up. I think he homers, and I'm like, wait, who? Excuse me? And then
and that's one of the weird games where it's like an 8-15 game. So like, you're not like tuned into it. You're not like dialed in, and like you may have missed like, oh, we made a roster move because the roster move happened at like 6:30 on a Friday, and you're like, oh, I was out getting drinks or getting food, and then you turn on the game and you're like, what am I watching right now? And then you're like, oh, okay, just hit that ball 430 feet. Like, don't know who he is or where he came from. Like, he might as well have been a fan that just gets put in the lineup. But yeah, he's just awesome. I saw him down in spring training.
The Cotton Eye Joe. He's the Cotton Eye Joe of MLB.
Explain.
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
All right, I like that. I thought you were gonna just say like, yeah, he's a good dancer, but
yeah. Listen, maybe we'll learn more about him. He seems like a true Renaissance man. Getting some love from Mav Handley here in the chat as well. Love to see. Yeah, he's been grinding away, and with Gary's injury, he had to come up here. Adley catches the first 2 games, but then Handley comes in and handles catching duties. No hits or I think he did actually get a hit in the series at one point. 2 RBIs though yesterday. So
I think the RBIs too. Again, I didn't get to watch most of the game, but I know he had the sack bunt. And I think he had a sack fly too. If you're a backup catcher, we'll ask Banks in the text message after this. A backup catcher coming in and having 2 RBIs. And those 2 being on a sack bunt and a sack fly, that's like porn to like a baseball manager. That is like, like that will get like baseball guys drooling and be like, that's what a backup catcher needs to be. That is like an all-time backup catcher, game. Like that, again, that's just being prepared and being ready. Because again, it sounds easy. Like, yeah, just lay down a sack bunt. How many times have we seen Mateo or some of these guys not be able to bunt? I know people were mad. I think they asked Jackson to bunt on Friday, and he missed twice. It's like, okay, let's be real. How many times has Jackson been asked to bunt? He's been the best player on every team he's ever played on.
Including right now.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, Andrew right here, backup catcher. Just give me something productive. if he would have gotten one of those down, it would have been incredible. And again, he got a sack fly and the sack bunt. That's perfect. Like all right. Maverick Hanley is like Nick Boyle before the steroids. Like, sure. Yeah. There we go. We can get one of these. Nice
yeah, that is like we got Mark here. That's like the tight end, great blocking, great hands, special teams contributions. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we talk about Buck guys like Ryan O'Hearn's a Buck guy, like Mav Handley. Some of these guys, these are John Harbaugh guys. I mean, it's just grinders, nasty, mean, rough, tough, all the cliches he just loves throwing out there that I know you're very fond of as well.
Who's got it better than Maverick Hanley?
Listen, not many people. I mean, you joke, but shit, man, the life of a backup catcher, that's you got it made in the shade, especially if you're hanging around on the big squad.
I still think the best job in sports is bullpen catcher.
Yeah, that too.
That's better than backup catcher because backup at least you have to play. But
yeah, it's kind of
good series for him. I was very happy for him.
Yeah, you mentioned Little Jackie bumped all the way up in the lineup on Saturday night to lead off. That, of course, is the game that they lost in the series, but he had a hit and a walk in that game. He just continues to really impress me this year. I don't have his numbers pulled up, but he's just, I don't know, man. Like we talked about in the preview, he's a guy that I wasn't expecting to like break out like superstar, but just very productive player. We've got Arditti for the podcast. He's holding up his Little Jackie bobblehead.
This is not a little one. This is a big time one.
Well, he's got a big head.
$16 at the Slade show this weekend. Same table where they were selling the amount of Justin Tucker stuff that these autograph and memorabilia people, they were selling like full size Ravens, like the like military helmets for like $30, like signed Justin Tucker. They are liquidating.
I mean, that's a fire sale. That is exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Liquidate the assets. Just try to get out while you still can on that one. I'm sure there were some
good Slade shows, people. If you're looking for some stuff, there's some good stuff there.
Slade shows. I'm not familiar with
card memorabilia, autograph stuff. It's a good time on a Saturday morning. It's a good people watching too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems like you would fit right in with that kind of crowd.
A little bit. Can he take a pitch to the face and catch innings? You know what? I think they asked him about that, or somebody talked about that with him. And I think he talked about like understanding the role of a backup catcher. Like I think he said something about like he saw that happen to McCann last year and kind of knew like he's gonna catch. He has to catch. Like this is his role and this is what he has to do. And he's like, I fully understand, what we have to do going forward and as a job and all that stuff. So he seems to get it. He's a guy who gets it. So he'll get many more opportunities. Again, stuff like that, the sack bunt, the sack fly, that's how you keep earning at-bats. That is how you stay up on a roster and just keep you stay on that roster and you keep getting those at-bats and playing. So
yeah, and we talk a lot about the adversity that some of these top guys have not faced throughout the career. I mean, I think back, this is such a random reference, but like I think about Richard Blyer's quote, like when he had first gotten called up, and then like for whatever reason, I forget exactly what the context was, but it was like, well, you're going to, miss this game. How are you kind of responding to that? And he's like, you know what? I fucking grounded out for 10 years in the minors. I can miss a game or I can miss like a spot here. That like, it was just a really cool quote, I thought. And it kind of just gives shine to the fact that a lot of these guys, and Handley, I think, is a younger guy. But you also think about Rivera, who's bounced around a little bit. Like these guys, they fucking know like what it means to get an opportunity like that and go out there and having to produce. And it's not to say that these other guys don't want to or they lack the wherewithal or anything like that, but it does go to show you what some kind of grit and grind it can take to be a professional baseball player for a long time. And hopefully some of these guys, these younger guys, see that and maybe they can take a little bit from it and learn from it. And yeah, I think Jackson is a good example of that. I think we've seen some good things from Heston Kjerstad so far this season, some bad. Hopefully he can continue to kind of, like I said, learn from this example. It does take us a little bit into the Adley conversation. He's kind of taken some guff here in the comments. I think understandably, he does have 2 hits on Sunday's game. Drives in the run.
Didn't he have 3 on Sunday?
I'm seeing 2 here per the book. But he did,
I didn't watch, so I know he got the one robbed.
Yeah, he did get robbed. 2 hits and a walk and an RBI on Sunday. So productive Sunday, but hitless throughout those first 2 the games that he did catch. Yeah, I mean it continues to just be a confounding run for this guy. Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good to start the year, and now we're kind of starting to have this conversation again, and it's unfortunate. I really don't. I just don't know what the answer is.
I think it was D Lama, I think, 12-12 in the comments. I'm right there with him. He talked about dropping Adley in the lineup. I tweeted that the other night. I think Adley was hitting 2 or 3 or something, and Jackson was like 6 or 7, and I was like, just
he hit second. Yeah, he hit second in the first 2 games each. Jackson. So obviously Jackson led off on Saturday, but Jackson was down at 7th, I think there. So
I would switch him. I think you would just move Adley down a little bit again. And somebody tweeted it too, and they were like, I think you should do that. And they were like, if they're not doing that because that hurts his person, I don't want to say ego, but like if that hurts him as a person or something like that, then that's kind of like a, hey man, we got to do this for the better of the team. I would love to see him bat maybe 6th or 7th.
They've already done it with him too. I mean, they did it last year at certain points. Like,
yeah, I don't run it back again. Again, I mean, there are several players who you could put up there. I mean, right now, again, if you're going to do a Jackson, Gunnar, Mountcastle, O'Hearn, give me that. You know, obviously it depends on who they're facing, righty lefty, but I think that would be a great top of the lineup. But yeah, I mean. And it's funny because obviously, so Adley gets robbed of the home run yesterday, but he was also gifted that triple by, it was Taylor Ward just not being able to find the ball in the sun. And I mean, Adley launched it, landed like right on the warning track, but I mean, I
loved your tweet that he needed that. That was me knowing that you just we're not watching the game live.
I know. I was watching that one, and that's where I was like, he needed that. I mean, sometimes you need one of those to fall. You know, so
you do, yeah. I'm with you, but yeah, I think not all, not all hits are created equal there, and
it's the line drive in the book. Line drive in the book. We'll say that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Listen, like we said when we were talking on the last pod about the Verdugo thing, you just take them where you can get them, I guess.
Yep, absolutely. Again, no one's gonna look back and be like, well, Adley had this hit, but it should have been caught. It's just at the end of the year, it's a hit. That's all that matters.
Yep. Tyler O'Neill returning to action this weekend as well. Yeah. Yeah, not great. Has a hit on Friday, blanked on Saturday, and not in the lineup. Or no, he's batted second and 2 walks on Sunday. So, interesting. I saw a nice little screen cap that you put out there after, what was that, his throw from right field? I mean, he looks like a baby deer out there sometimes, man. It's really tough to take some of his play out in right field seriously, that one being chief among them. And it just continues to coast closer and closer to picking up his player option with the club this coming winter. Let's just say that.
Yep. Yeah, it's he's batting 087 with a 214 on base percentage with 2 hits, 4 walks, 2 RBIs in his last 7. So again, we talked about it last week, but they spent a lot of money to get better against lefties, and they have gotten significantly worse. Like they would have been better off just kind of staying put and not spending any money on that.
Bit of a common theme there of, hey, they actually started spending money. What did they actually spend it on? Nothing great. Alex Haney, Tyler O'Neill, and the O stands for, oh, what the hell do you even do here? It kind of reminds me when you do the Ryan O'Hearn, Tyler O'Neill, and the O stands for, it always reminds me of the Family Guy, R as in Robert Loggia.
Yes.
As in, oh my God, it's Robert Loggia.
See, and again, like I'm seeing the comments, like, put Laureano in there. I'm fine with Laureano, but again, I mean, they're paying this guy a lot of money, and so they're going to put him in there. And as much as we don't want to see him, but again, he's also a guy who can get hot and who can hit home runs in bunches and absolutely mash against lefties, because that's all he did last year. So I'm hoping. Well, they talked about it. I don't know if you heard this on Friday night when he came back, and they were like, oh yeah, he had the strained neck or something like that, and they said it was so bad that he couldn't use his normal stance because he couldn't turn his head and look at the pitcher. So he changed his stance and his swing. And that's where the alarms are going off. And it's like, why is he playing? If that's what you're doing, like, you have to put him on the IL. And it reminded me of the Westberg thing earlier in the year when he plays on opening day.
Saturday, the second game, he hits 2 home runs. And then Sunday he sits, and everyone's like, what the hell is the matter with him? And then it came out where Hyde was like, yeah, he's really battling this injury and yada, yada, yada. And then a couple weeks ago, Hyde comes out and says, when they put him on the IL, and they said, yeah, well, Westburg has really been battling. And after that series in Toronto, he couldn't even walk back into the clubhouse. And it was like, so why did he play another 3 weeks? Like, these guys are obviously hurt. If Tyler O'Neill is changing his stance and his swing because his neck is so bad, like, why did he keep playing? Like, that's where it's like, training guys.
Jordan Westburg is 26 years old.
I thought he got hit by a bus the way they talked about it.
This is like, dude, as somebody who, like, I try not to overreact. And when I see other people maybe getting a little extreme with their reaction to something, I try to play devil's advocate maybe a little bit too often, because that was kind of my thing with the Ravens for a little while. It was like, it can't just be the strength and conditioning staff. Like, it can't be that. Like, there has to be, it's injury luck. Water's going to find its level, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? They got rid of that psychopath that was running things for them. They bring a new guy in, and thankfully, knock on wood, things have been relatively okay there since that's happened. Now we have a 26-year-old who cannot walk after a game, and we've got Tyler.
The third game of the season.
Who's like me, who's got a podcaster injury with the neck. Like, I've told you about my neck issues dealing with this, and then I go and play golf on it like a fucking moron, and I aggravate it even worse. This is just like, we talk about the hitting coaches. That's a conversation that wound up in a change. And guess what? That one might not have been for, all the good in the world. But this is another thing where I'm starting to look at some of these injuries and all this kind of stuff. It's like I said, man, I forget that Cowser is missing sometimes. I forget Westberg's missing sometimes. And I get Cowser. That's kind of a freak injury. It's not really a training staff thing.
Yeah, that's nothing you can do.
But yeah, man, soft tissue stuff, fatigue, how you manage your recovery, all that kind of stuff. Like, we gotta Dave, like, let's get all the money infused in the world into making sure these guys are in tip-top shape. This is kind of still a holdover of an organization in transition, in my opinion, that needs a lot of infrastructure improvements. And I think this would be where I would start. And nothing against this current training staff. Maybe I'm way off base with this, but it just feels like maybe something needs to change there as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, the way that they talked about it, it made it sound like he was like run over by like a dump truck multiple times. But again,
what did we talk about with Adley all last year too?
Like, yes. Yeah.
I'm just gonna play through it. Like, well, come on, man. Like, you don't have to do that, right?
Yeah. Again, it's better if you don't. Sometimes. So yeah, I don't know. Again, they do need to get healthy, and it knock on wood, it kind of seems like they are. Again, I know Cowser is I know he's traveling with the team. He was playing catch out there. Westburg, I guess it sounded like he's not. They said he was still kind of working through it at Norfolk. So that's whatever. I assume Ramon will be back soon. And from there, I know Tyler Rogers and Chase McDermott were both taken off the IL and placed in Norfolk's rotation. So again, you're not going to like the options, but there are guys and arms becoming healthy and available. So, again, you just stay afloat, keep your head above the water, and wait for some of these guys to come back. And again, you're seeing guys like Mountcastle get hot. You're seeing Gunnar get hot. You're seeing Jackson get hot. You're seeing O'Hearn get hot. So hopefully some of these other guys can kind of round into form, Cedric and Adley. And pretty soon you're going to be having a nice little lineup with hopefully some fresh legs for Cowser and some fresh legs for Westy. So I don't know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they need it. I mean, you talk about their one loss in the series. The bats just don't get going. You lose 5-2. Throughout the rest of it, you score 4 in that first one. You score 7 on Sunday. So you're going to need to win some shootouts with the way the rotation's currently constructed. Like I said, I trust Sugano every time he takes the mound.
Yes.
I definitely trust. Yeah, I mean, what a guy. I already turning into a fan favorite. I loved his Mother's Day tweets. Just, I big into the Sugano experience right now. Sugano, he's my senpai. Truly.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Eflin back. That was very encouraging to see him not only come back, but didn't seem like he had any injury rust. Felix looked good again on Sunday. He did give up just kind of this random home run, which he kind of does that every couple of starts, I feel like, at this point. But that's okay. It was wound up only being the one, and then I think he punches the rest of the guys out. So
when you're up 7-2, I have zero problem if you give up a home run, and it was the guy's first home run. Whatever, that's fine. Good for him.
Yeah, just get that out of the way.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, Eflin, his ERA 3.13. I think Sagano is 2.74. Again, those guys, this is what you're going to get from them, and that's just what they're going to be. So if you can get Kramer to be this May Kramer as opposed to April Kramer, then that's another guy who you can count on to go 5, 6. The thing I love about Sagano is you'll be watching and you're like, man, he's cruising along, and then you blink and you're like, he has 80 pitches and the 7th inning is starting. Like, holy shit! Like, this guy he's going to pitch a complete game for them this year. He'll pitch a complete game. I'll put that out on the record. I'll stick my neck out there. I think he pitches a complete game, which is crazy because, again, 10 years ago, it would have been like, all right, Scott Feldman pitched a complete game against the Reds like one year. And it was like, yeah, okay, that's what pitchers do. But
no, it's going to be, who's our guy? David Hess.
Love David Hess. David Hess is our guy.
Had the no-hitter going and
almost had the no. Yep.
Hyde was like, nope. We gotta worry about the next start. Hey, we got Boston coming up.
Well, and then he got cancer, and then he had a tumor the size of a Yankee candle in his chest. Maybe they should have let him go a little longer.
Yeah, that might have been a nice thing for them to do in retrospect.
Yeah, he's a beast. A Titans fan, we text a lot about the Titans.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, he's a Tennessee guy. So
get David Hess on the pod.
Would love that. Open invite to David Hess. Nice. Always available.
All right. Anything else we got from this fun little series win out on the West Coast?
Somebody tweeted me that they were disgusted that the Orioles were celebrating the win and the home run with the hat, and they were like, maybe get above 500 first. It's like these guys are not robots. Like it's okay. I told him, I was like, it's okay to have fun. Like, it's perfectly fine to have fun.
In fact, you could argue that they're trying it feels like every time they try to mix up their celebrations, that kind of messes with their juju. And all of a sudden we're doing the little fishing thing, and all of a sudden you blink and it's just like fucking island time. You look around and you're like, oh my God, I'm 10 games below 500. What happened? Like, I gotta go back to the dong bong now. And now I gotta be Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. Which you have, I guess Gunnar, he went to the, they said he went to, Disney World out there and got the hat himself. So,
dude, there's just nothing funnier also than like a grown man dressed as a pirate. Like, go all the way back to Seinfeld. You think about Dodgeball with think about Pirate Simon with your coworkers there. Just some really good pirate content to be had out there. I love Captain Sparrow. So
you'd be shocked that I've seen one of those movies.
No, those are big blockbusters. I could see you getting into that.
But again, I'm not a pirate guy. Joe likes him. Joe is into it. Joe is into it. So
I haven't seen all of them in a long time. I feel like I catch the first one every couple of years, and every time I come back to it, I'm like, yep, this is good.
Who is the bad guy in is it Benicio del Toro? Was he in No Country for Old Men?
That is Javier Bardem.
That's who it is. Yes. I saw the one with him in there.
I don't know if I remember.
He was a bad guy in one of them. I don't know which one.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, so I've seen that. But again, whatever. Let them have fun. Like, that's the thing. Like, you want them to be uptight and like hit a home run and just go sit right back in the dugout. Like, no, it's okay. Like, they'll,
I really like this idea from D Llama 1212. Need a full-on pirate costume, eye patch, hook hand, coat, parrot, etc.
Oh, I don't want to do the parrot. We still have bad PTSD from the parrot.
That's
Edwin
true.
Edwin running around like that.
Yeah, they should just turn half of the dugout into like a full-on tiki bar with a velvet rope, and whenever you homer, you get to go into the tiki bar and just have like you get an aloha yard and like some rum floaters and just have a full-on party in there. That's what I
like. I like that. I like that. I'd be okay with that. But a hot team in Minnesota coming in. I think they've won 8 straight. They're firing on all cylinders right now. The AL Central, kind of a wagon. No one else is really bringing that up. But then the
Orioles got caught up in that couple days ago at this point. So yeah,
they but and then the Nats for 3 over the weekend. So again, those should be great weather. I think. I don't know. I think no, actually it may rain. But again, get out to the games if you can. Try and pack the yard and especially let's let the I know you saw it, the Washington Post reader email or whatever that they run back every couple months. I feel like, or like that's their like 1st and 10. We're gonna run the ball. Like saying is actually bad.
Yeah, I just feel like of all the times in our nation's history, I don't know, like if that's one that, regardless of where you come down, you just can't argue that you're not going to get everyone on board with that one. Like I hate to break it to you, but
yeah. But whatever. I thought they would have waited till like Wednesday or Thursday before the series started to run that one back. But
hey, there is no time limit on patriotism, baby. Gotta fly the flag. That guy's out there doing yeoman's work.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not yelling red during the anthem at the Caps games. He's definitely not doing that.
Well, it's different. They're indoors, you're cheering for Russians and Canadians. Yeah, it's totally multicultural.
Yeah, and it's not like the song was written like a half mile or a mile maybe from where Camden Yards is.
Yeah, I think if anyone's got rights to ad lib a little bit, it would be us. But
I have talked to Nick and KB and their producer multiple times about doing a Rediscovering America Baltimore and like doing a whole like Fort McHenry and like rewriting the national. I'm telling you, I think it would be incredible.
The Boston one where KB's like got the chin strap here and like the fucking Oakleys and like the t-shirt over there. He looks like
imagine what they could do here. Imagine.
That would be amazing. Yeah, we'd have to like get them down to Dundalk and maybe try some Jimmy's and then maybe walk around the neighborhood a little bit. That would be good.
I've talked to their producer multiple times, being like, "You guys got to come down and do this."
Donnie
does actually follows me on Twitter, so
there we go.
Yeah, might have to slide up in those DMs.
He's the best. We love it. We love it. Donnie does.
We do.
He's a goat. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. I got nothing else. It was a nice series win. Again, we all kind of needed that. This would have been a series. I think if they would have lost it, I think a lot of people would have been like, I'm really, really kind of done with this for the next couple weeks. And, but again, I mean, they scrapped out 2 out of 3. And as I look up, and Boston is down 13-1, their starter gave up 11 runs tonight. So again, Charlie Morton says suck on that, but, the division is no one is really going anywhere.
Yeah, for my part, if they were like 4 games below 500 as opposed to 9, I probably stay up for those first 2 games. I probably brew a pot of coffee and find a way to make it happen. But they've got to earn my trust back, right? Circle of trust. We got to.
I understand that. I fully understand that. I'm all right with that. Again, I understand the people who are still tentative about like going back full in. But again, I'm just the more that they can I feel like since that ass kicking, the 24-2, I know Spenny put out the offensive numbers. I feel like they've pitched, again, take some of the games out, but I feel like they've pitched and played much better. Like they've, and they didn't get killed in Minnesota. They just got like 1 by 1, like death by 1,000 paper cuts kind of, but they weren't down 9-2 in the 3rd inning or something.
Your real culprit just continues to be the offense. Like they've just got to find a way to string some games together where you're just consistently putting the ball in play and get, crossing home plate. Like it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. And that'll be their key to hopefully turning the season into something worth remembering.
Yeah. And again, if the top of the lineup, the Gunners, the Jacksons, the O'Hearn, the Mountcastles, if those guys can get going, then again, hopefully they pass the baton back to Ramon and then Adley, and then, Cedric gets hot again. And then next thing you know, they're, over the last 10 games, the Orioles have scored, 75 runs, and they're averaging over 7.5 runs a game and stuff like that. So,
I mean, shit, we've seen them go on 10-game winning streaks in seasons where they had no business doing it with the level of talent they had. So things have just got to fall right. I'm not expecting it to happen necessarily, but you hang in there and you keep giving it a whirl.
For sure. And again, just big series coming up this week. And the weather is shitty for the Twins series. So who knows how many they get. It's supposed to be rain tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
shocker.
And then perfect weather going into next week. So
okay,
get some wins. Let's have a day. And then again, just keep that head above water. We'll be all right. All right.
Absolutely. You know what? Could always be worse. That's my motto.
Could be the Rockies.
Yeah, or the Pirates.
Padres took out 2 managers on 1 road trip. It's pretty impressive.
It's kind of like the Grim Reaper knocking on the doors meme.
Yeah.
Shout
out Warren though, the new head coach, the manager of the Rockies. This is my cousin Robbie's high school teammate.
Well, there you go. Sounds like you know the guy really well.
I don't know him really well. I met him when they came to Baltimore, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm 1 degree of separation away from a manager.
Well, connections all over the place. And listen, there are a couple of openings out there for maybe you to potentially slot in. You're that close,
I don't think
get you out there in full uniform.
I don't know ball. I do not know ball.
Barking at the umpires, that would be good.
Barking at umps I could do. All umps are bad. Everybody sucks. So oh well.
Okay. Little Limp Bizkit action for you there.
Yeah, everybody sucks.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in, hanging with us here on this series recap. Fun one, the rare fun one that we've gotten to do this year. This was a good one. Thank you, Orioles, for putting me in a good mood for one of these. And let's try and do it again real soon. I would appreciate that very much. If you guys liked what you heard, subscribe to us here on YouTube. We're 20 away from that elusive 3,000 mark. We'd really appreciate it if you'd spread us around, get some people to subscribe. If you already are, comment on all the videos, like them, get that algorithm pumping for us. You can find us on social media at Exit 52 Podcast on X and on Instagram. I am at Jake Louque. That's LOUQUE. Eric is at EDITTI22. Brian, who I actually efforted for the backup catcher question. I have not heard back from him yet, at Barstool Banks. So that'll go out on Twitter after I get that response. So find him there at Barstool Banks. Spenny at Ravens 4 Dummies. That is the number 4. And Taylor at Taylor Smythe 10. Thank you all for hanging with us, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Bye. Bye.
Arrivederci.